Welcome back to Hobble Creates. Today you're going to learn the logistics of how to automate trains. You're going to be able to send items and liquids throughout your world in a very fancy way. However, this is not going to be a tutorial on how to make a very nice looking train. This is all about the logistics, and honestly, I'm not a very good realistic builder. I'm more of a fantasy kind of guy. I'm not very good at translating real life to Minecraft. But with that said, let's get our locomotion on, let's steam ahead and start your training. I'm not sorry for the puns, they're awesome. So as you can see, we have got a nice big testing area with some of our Hobble Creates builds. All of these builds need some items or liquids moved from one place to the other. Now, as you can see, I've gone ahead and made this a loop because when you've got an automated train, it does not want to go backwards. So if you can get yourself a nice big loop, you're going to have a better time. Otherwise, you've got to find a way to turn your train around. Not only that is over here, we've got an area where we're going to build our train. We can send it onto our main track line, and then this area over here can get deleted. So we're going to start with a train station. So we're going to take a train station, we're going to right click it on our track, then we're going to right click it off to the side. Be aware that train stations are directional. You can see that we are facing this way. That is the way that we want our train to go. We could place one down that way and our train would be built facing that way. Not what we want. But in your train station, you are going to click this create a new train button. And what you can see is highlighted a piece of track. So if we right click this now with a train casing, it's going to create a small bogie. And then down the track, it's highlighted even more space. This is as long as we can make our train. Now make sure that you're not building on a corner. That is why we've got a nice big stretch over here, because you cannot build on a corner. But we're going to take another train casing, we're going to right click it down over here. Now technically this could be one train, however we're going to find it quite difficult fitting in our item vaults and our fluid tanks. So we're going to make a little bit of a longer train. So we're going to come back over here, we're going to skip the first block here, we're going to add in another 2 bogies, and we're going to do the same again. We're going to skip the first one and we're going to add 2 more bogies. So we're going to have a driver's compartment, we're going to have an item vault compartment, and we're going to have a fluid tank compartment. You don't need to separate them this way, you could just build one big platform if you wanted to. I'm going to try my best to keep it a little bit realistic, but it's not going to be pretty. We're not going to add insane levels of detail. But now we need to join some of these together. So on these first 2 bogies, we are going to connect them. We're going to not connect over here, and we're going to connect the next 2. And the next 2. Now, if you want to follow along at home and want to build yourself a basic looking train, one that functions and doesn't look terrible, you can copy this at home. So we've surrounded our main train with our spruce slabs, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other bogies. So for now, we're not going to focus on our driver's cab. Instead, we're going to work on our item transport. So coming over to our middle bogie, we're going to add in some item vaults here. And of course, making it a nice big 3x3, and we're going to make it a 3x3x4. Then on our third bogie, we're going to take some fluid tanks. Now, it's not ideal that this is a 3x3 and this can be whatever size you want it to be. There's no way to make this look pretty. So we're just going to come to the back. We're going to add a nice 3x3 fluid tank, and we're going to make it 3 blocks tall. Now we're going to add a tiny bit of decoration, and we're going to come over to our item vault bogie. We're going to come to where the trains connect over here, and down here we're going to add in another slab. We're going to do the same on this one, and we're going to repeat it on the other side. Then we're going to take some spruce trapdoors, and we're going to wrap this around our item vault. We're going to bring it over the top. We're going to come around to the other side, and we're going to bring it all the way down. But we're going to copy the same over here, like so. Now moving on over to our fluid tank, we're going to do something similar, but just to keep it a little bit fresh, we're going to do it in the opposite direction. So we're going to come across the middle over here, strap in our fluid tank like so, and come around to the back, do exactly the same again. Now, since we have this weird space at the front, I'm actually going to just throw in some campfires, and we're obviously going to extinguish those with a lovely shovel. Just so it kind of looks like we got a couple of pallets or something just loaded up at the front. You know what, let's just go ahead and throw some on the back as well. Now moving on to our driver's section, we're going to come to the back corner over here, we're going to add some strip spruce, we're going to do the same on this corner, we're going to leave a 2 block gap, and we're going to add 2 more. Then we're going to take some cut copper, and we're going to add in a nice little roof to this thing. Then we can throw in some spruce trapdoors as well to kind of keep the theme going. It's a lot of spruce, it's a lot of brown, you can definitely do better. Now comes the most important part of your driver cab assembly. We're going to need to throw down some train controls, and directly in front of these we need to place down a seat. The colour is irrelevant, but you need to place down a seat. This is where you're going to load your mob into. Now for the front part of the train, we are going to take some crushing wheels, and we're going to throw 2 down over here. Then we're going to take some cut copper stairs, and we're going to place 2 over here and 2 over here. And because we want to be fancy, I'm actually going to extend out our spruce slabs on the front. We're going to extend the cut copper. We're going to throw in a rose quartz lamp and another slab on top. But now that we've got our trains kind of built, we need to add a little bit of functionality, like the main functionality that makes it an actual useful train. That's going to be adding some portable fluid interfaces and portable storage interfaces. So we're going to come over to our train station. We know that the train is always going to park right here on any train station that we've got. So that means that we can take a storage interface, we can replace this steer here with a portable storage interface, and if we replace this steer here with a fluid one, we'll know that whatever train station we are at, right next to our train station we're going to have items, and to the right of that we are going to have fluids. But once you're happy with your train, it is time to start gluing things together. So we're going to take some super glue. Now there's a couple of steps, if you are using multiple bogies like me, that you need to avoid doing. You do not want to glue this bogie to this one over here, and same for this one over here. You want them to be separate entities. You'll see why that's important a little bit later. So we're going to come down to our spruce slab down here. We're going to just drag it up over here like so. Then we need to make sure that we are connecting to the top over here. And then finally, we need to connect in our roof. Now we need to do the same over on this side. We're going to connect our storage up over here, down to the back to over there. And then finally, the trapdoors on the side, to the trapdoors on the other side. And finally, our fluid container. There we go, our train should technically all be glued up. Now is a good time to test it. So we're going to come into our train station, we're going to click assemble train, and we're going to name this Chew, because I don't have a better name for a train. This train is in a creative world. So we're going to take a seat on our train, we're going to right click our controls, and because we're sat on a seat, when we change our perspective, we can actually get a very good look at the entire train. So what we're going to do is we're going to move backwards a little bit, and we just need to make sure that all of the blocks that we've attached to our train are actually attached. And yes, it looks like everything is now attached, so we can hold space to go back to the station. We have a train. Woohoo! But now that we've got our train, we need to set up our first train station. So my first train stop is going to be picking up honey. So we're going to come over to where I've got the honey. We're going to place down another train station, which is going to be right here. Like so. And now we need to name this train station. You can choose whatever name you want. I'm just going to keep it simple for the tutorial, and that is going to be called Pick Up Honey. Moving over to our next stop is going to be dropping off said honey, so we're going to do the same again. We're going to right click on the track, we're going to place it down on this side this time, we're going to call that Drop Honey. Now we're going to move on to actually picking up cobblestone and lava at the same time. So we're going to place down a train station. It's going to be kind of halfway between these two builds. This is going to be called Lava Cobble. Our next stop is going to drop off that cobble and it's going to exchange that for some gold. So we're going to place our station down here and just give it a good old right click. Then our final station is going to drop off the lava, the gold, and I also need to set up a station for picking up logs because we're also going to drop off logs up here. So once you've got all of your stations set up and you know where everything needs to go, we're about to either get as complicated or as simple as you like because, well, the possibilities are a little bit endless. You can set up a lot of actions, you can set up a lot of contingencies. We're going to try and keep it as simple as possible to follow, but you can go as deep as you want with this. We need to make ourselves a train schedule. This is what's going to tell your train what to do. So if you give this a right click, you are greeted with an interface. If we click on this button that adds an action, you can see that we can tell the train to travel to a station. Now we know that our very first station is honey and logs. We're going to give it a tick. And this is where things get either complicated or simple. If we click on this default one here that says wait 5 seconds, we can change this to anything we like. We can say wait until a certain time of day, or you can change it to a cargo condition. You can do redstone link. If it's a player train, you can do player seated. For our intents and purposes, we are going to keep it simple. So once you've reached honey and logs, you are going to need an item cargo condition. And we're going to say once you've got more than 2 stacks of logs, then you can continue on your journey. However, not only do we want logs, we also want a little bit of honey. So we're going to go down to a fluid cargo condition. We're going to add in our honey buckets. And we're going to say wait for 1 bucket of honey to be at least in the train. However, since our honey production isn't massive right now, we're going to add in an alternative condition. We're going to give a scheduled delay. We're going to scroll this down to 1 and we're going to say that you can wait for 1 minute. And we're going to add the same to our honey as well. So there we go. We can move on to the next station if we've got 2 stacks of logs, 1 bucket of honey, or 1 minute has been reached. So now we need to move on to our next station. We're going to click to add an action, travel to station, and we're going to go to the drop off honey station. This time we're going to do a fluid cargo condition. We're going to go for honey, and we're going to make sure that you have got less than 1 bucket of honey. To make sure that the train is actually completely empty of honey, we're going to add a little bit of a delay of 5 seconds. Then we just need to repeat these steps for the other stations. And you'll end up with something that looks a little bit like this. Now, when it comes to picking up our gold nuggets, I've actually excluded those from here. you'll see that I've only got it emptying out the cobblestone because we don't know how many gold nuggets we are actually going to be producing. So while we're emptying out cobblestone, we are also going to be loading in our gold. Then finally, when we get home, we're going to empty out all of our liquids, all of our items. We're going to wait for 1 minute before we send the train again. Now, on the bottom left, there is a loop forever that is on by default, and we want this train to loop forever. So we're going to click tick, and that is going to save our schedule. Now we need to find ourselves a friend. We're going to go over to our seat in the front of the train, and we're just going to right click our lead on the seat. That's going to put the sheep into the seat. And all we need to do is give this schedule to the sheep once we've set up loading and unloading at our other stations. So at our first station, we have got honey over this side and we have got items on this side. We're going to start with the items first because we know that directly above our train track here, we've got a portable storage interface. So right here, we're going to go 1 block, 2 block, right here on top of this flower over here, we need to add in another storage interface. So any items that we pump into this or pull out of it will connect directly to our train. So real quick, let me run a belt from our item vault over here down to our storage interface, and we need to filter this to only pull out the logs. But you're a smart cookie, you knew how to do that already. So there we are, we've got our logs loading into our storage interface. Now, instead of changing the Y levels, I did go ahead and add in a smart chute here. Completely unnecessary, I just didn't want to lower down our belt 1 block. But now on the other side, we can go ahead and load in our fluid. So we know that 1 block back from here, that's going to be our fluid interface. So we're going to go 1 block, 2 block on the 3rd block here. We're going to add an ascending fluid interface, and now we just need to hook that up to our honey storage. And there we go, we've got our honey being pumped into our fluid interface. Now, in a real survival world, this would 100% be hidden. We would be hiding our conveyor belts over here. The whole reason that we're using trains for this purpose is to actually hide all of this mess over here. Now over at our dual item station, we're going to come to the back of our storage interface and we're going to set a filter to only pull out our cobblestone. Now to make my life a little bit easier, I'm actually going to extend this item vault out 1 more block. That way I can very easily just throw in a small belt here. We can add a funnel to the side and a funnel into our item vault that's going to contain all of our gold nuggets. And what I'm hoping this does is items will go into our storage interface and out of the storage interface at the same time. And my friends, with all of this set up now, I think we're ready to give this a good old test. So we're going to take our train schedule, we're going to cross all of our fingers and our toes, cross our arms, cross our eyes, cross our sheep. Let's see what happens. The train is now following our schedule, so we're going to follow it around. We should go all the way down to our very first station and pick up a bunch of honey and a couple of oak logs. As you can see, we have connected either side. Let's check our storage. We should hopefully start seeing some items going in. We are not. Why are we not seeing items move in? But it was at this point in the tutorial that I realized that I made a mistake. And I'm actually going to leave it in, although I did put a disclaimer down. I hope you guys seen it, but I'm going to leave this mistake in because everyone makes mistakes. It's how we fix them that actually matters. So in my previous design, I hadn't used multiple bogies. Instead, I just used 1 long train. What I hadn't realized is connecting to our first bogie like I did previously, with our interfaces, we couldn't actually interact with other bogies. Honestly, not a terribly difficult fix, it just means we need to alter our stations as we go. So let's fix that. So we're going to come over to our train station, we're going to disassemble our train here. We need to just move things over a little bit. So we're going to take a fluid interface, we're going to plug it into the back of our train over here, facing out. We're going to take a storage interface and we're going to plug it into our middle bogie over here. We're going to do the same on the other side. And then all we need to do is move this pipe. So with our adjustments made, we can come over to our train station and we can go ahead and re-enable our train. And what we should hopefully see, yep, we've got honey going into our fluid tank and we've got oak logs going into our item vault. That means now if we give back our train schedule to our driver, they should go on to the next station. Then we're going to do the same again. We're going to alter where we're connecting to. So I think I've managed to get everything lined up correctly. So what I'm hoping now is if we give our sheep our schedule, things should start moving a little bit smoother. We should be completely out of items. We should be completely out of fluid tanks. We are going to wait that 1 minute and then we should hopefully be on our way. There we go. We should hit our station. We should connect to our fluid pump over here. You didn't actually wait, my friend. Why didn't you wait? Okay, because you had the 2 stacks of items already. Slight miscommunication, but we should empty out all of our honey. Moving on to the next station, we should pick up some cobblestone. I'm assuming this is also going to be very quick. Might need to adjust the timings ever so slightly. I think we just had a lot of cobblestone and logs backed up. However, if this was running normally and the farm had only just started running, the timing would have been correct, but now we should unload all of our cobblestone that we've got in here. And we don't actually have any gold ready to go, I don't believe. Let's take a look. We have got some gold nuggets ready, so this system does work over here. And then finally, we should unload some lava into here. We do. We're unloading all of our logs over here. We didn't have many in there to begin with. And we've unloaded all of our gold nuggets. It's going to wait 1 minute, and it is going to go around again. Oh boy, did it take me some time to actually get this tutorial out to you guys. Trains can be as complicated or as simple as you want. You can make them look pretty, you can do what I did and just make them look a bit basic, but now you kind of know how to automate trains. So if you did enjoy yourself and you learned something new, then be sure to hit that subscribe button, as you are not going to miss whatever the heck happens next. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye guys.